Donald Trump is pushing to open ANWR to drilling. Ellen Murphy drops by to talk about what we can do to stop it. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. On the line with us is Ellen Montgomery, the Field Director of Public Lands with Environment America. Environmentamerica.org is the website. ENVAM is the Twitter handle. And Ellen, welcome to the program. Tell us about this press release I read over on Common Dreams about the Trump administration's dangerous, or catastrophic, actually, was the word you guys used, rush to open the Alaska Natural Wildlife Reserve, if I'm remembering that's what ANWR stands for, to oil drilling. Please correct my acronym too.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today, Thom. The first thing to know is that for decades, the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge in northern, it's in northern Alaska, has stood as a symbol of our nation's strong natural legacy. It's home to endangered polar bears, caribou, wolves, musk oxen, and migratory birds that travel to all 50 states. And destroying their home for just a bit more oil is a tragic mistake, and we can't let it happen.
Isn't it fait accompli? I mean, aren't they right now selling off these lands, or is it possible this is, sort of like some of the executive orders Trump has done, this is the sort of thing that a Biden administration might be able to undo? Right.
Well, first of all, President-elect Biden has committed to protecting the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And the Trump administration is rushing this through, trying to get it done by the end of President Trump's tenure and not fully considering the environmental impacts. The timeline is, in fact, so rushed that it's, while on the one hand, bad news for the refuge because it's being opened for leasing, it also will. It's very unlikely that the entire process will be finished and that drilling will actually have started. There are a set of things that they have to do before they can actually open up the land. So it's essentially rushing something through that ought to take a lot longer, but frankly shouldn't be happening at all.
But once if Shell or BP or pick your favorite company that donates massive amounts of cash to Republican members of Congress, once they have signed a lease, is that a revocable lease? Do they get their money back if there's a deposit? I don't know how this process works.
Right. In order to actually start any kind of exploration, there are a number of additional processes that would need to happen, including environmental assessments, a variety of things. And so it's certainly not a done deal that these companies would be able to just start drilling. Although we think, and the rest of the environmental community thinks better to stop this and speak out against it over the next 30 days. And we're, in fact, urging oil companies, including Chevron, just to take a pass on the entire process.
Have any companies signed up?
I actually don't know. The official publication was just today, and I don't know that information is actually available to us yet.
So it takes a while for this to become a matter of public record. But, I guess the essence of my question, we're talking with Ellen Montgomery, the Field Director with Public Lands of Environment America, environmentamerica.org. I guess the essence of my question was, is this a stunt by Trump on his way out of office to basically, flip the finger to environmentalists in America? Or is this an actual real effort on the part of the Trump administration to hand something of value to some of their largest and most wealthy campaign donors?
Sure. So the grounds for this were laid in 2017 when Trump signed signed a tax bill basically that included a provision that required lease sales for oil and gas development. So this has been on his or on the Trump administration's agenda for a couple years, but the last minute speed up of the process is certainly certainly unwelcome and seems quite rushed and unlikely to result in a clear or successful process.
Yeah, because I guess if it's an attempt to just grandstand one last time for the benefit of Charles Koch and other oil billionaires, then it's probably something that's worth calling out and decrying or condemning, but not anything that Congress really needs to get involved with. On the other hand, if they're actually signing contracts with real oil companies and those companies are handing over millions of dollars in deposits, and if there are provisions in those contracts that make them irrevocable or very difficult to revoke using a normal political process, then it becomes a whole different thing. Then it becomes war. And I'm trying to figure out which of these two it is, or is it something in between? How freaked out do we need to be? Is this something that's worth calling our members of Congress right now and raising hell about? Or is this just another example of the bad faith and the basically hatred of this country that we see on display from these right-wing billionaires and Donald Trump and the people around him?
Right. It is absolutely worth reaching out to members of Congress. The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is a unique and incredible, piece of the American, public lands sort of, portfolio. It's something that absolutely must not be destroyed. And this is an area that oil companies have had their eyes on for decades. And we know that there is widespread public support and that there's been bipartisan support in the past to protect this area. We believe there can be bipartisan support in the next Congress to protect this area. And so folks who are concerned should absolutely reach out to their members of Congress and call for a concrete solution permanently protecting this area of the coastal plain of the refuge.
Great. And you can, of course, tweet your members of Congress. You can call them at 202-225-3121. You can contact their local offices. You can send them emails. You can send them, there's just all kinds of ways to reach out to them. Ellen, do you expect that, we're talking with Ellen Montgomery, the field director for public lands with environmentamerica.org. Ellen, do you expect that once the Biden administration comes in, I'm seeing all these press releases that Biden's first environmental appointee is a person who's taken a lot of money from the fossil fuel industry, that this battle is going to continue, or has the Biden administration, or has Joe Biden, pre-baked this cake? Has he already said, no, we're definitely going to roll this back, or is it just, we'll try to protect ANWR?
President-elect Biden's, website specifically names the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge as a place, for permanent protection, and so we're excited about that and optimistic. But again, we think that there can be bipartisan support for Congress also acting to protect the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And so we'll, work both to encourage President-elect Biden to permanently protect the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and also continue to, encourage our members of Congress to do the same.